North Oaks, amazingly, in '04, when I took office, I went to the Lady of the Lake and I went to North Oaks because this parish does not have a hospital. Didn't have a lot of medical care needs here. We have needs here, but they have to go out of parish. The lake at that time was in a situation where they couldn't be too interested in North Oaks. Wanted to come take a look. They wanted to be more to the Jubin, the new interchange. We tried to convince them to come to Satsuma, and it was kind of a standing joke of, well, what's at Satsuma? But if you look at the Satsuma exit, where North Oaks is now, they're right in the center of the parish. They're right off of the interstate. I think they're going to just be great for the parish. A lot of medical needs are going to be met there. North Oaks opened 2 clinics in Walker. Both of them have been overcome. There's so much business there. They're actually looking at moving some of that to South Satsuma exit. Our parish has not experienced a lot of the convenience of the Walmarts now. We have 3, as you know, or 2. Property bought for 2 more locations, so there's a possibility of 4 going in the parish. So when you look at the dynamics of the parish, we're 465 square miles. That's a pretty big parish. The DMV building, something we're very proud of, is going to be a beautiful building, very similar to the health unit which we're in today. The DMV building in history has been in Denham Springs. This is the center of the parish. I think it'll draw from Albany, Springfield, Killian, that direction, from Livingston. So from coming to the center, it'll keep people from going out of parish to go to DMV. I've said many, many times that people in Watson don't know what's going on in the river. Vice versa. It's a very big parish. There's a lot of things that's happening that it just seems to take time to get to people. That something new is coming. Eric and him have done a great job of getting out there with us and helping promote. When we get a project, we call on Eric, we call on the tourism board and say, hey, look, we think it's going to be a good one. Let's go get it. And they're working hard toward that.
I moved out here in 1979 to get away from the big city life. And when I first come out here, the river was good for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you could shoot a cannon down that river and never hit a fisherman. So as years progressed and boating progressed, we had to start creating fun to get them to stay here during the winter and in the spring to get them to come back. So Madisonville and other places had Mardi Gras boat parades, so I created a boat parade called the Crew of Rex, but it got to be a little expensive. So then I created a poker run called the Tickfall 200. And between the Mardi Gras and the Tickfall 200, it hit pretty good in Livingston Parish because of the unique parish that I live in. This is the heart and soul, I believe, of Louisiana. And the reason it's so popular is because you get to see what the cars and the buses and the planes don't get to see. If you don't have a boat, you don't get to see the real Louisiana.
I've been boating for about 15 years. I've been running professionally in the motorsports on tour with OSS and SBI in the circuit for Super V in a 42-foot fountain. I think Crazy Charlie is incredible. What he's done in boating over the last 30 years, you know, in the racing that he's done and the records that he holds, and to be able to open his facility up for a worthy cause, but also to put this event together. It's a lot of responsibility on his shoulder. He's probably one of the nicest men that I've met, more welcome and honest, and just welcomes everyone in. No one's a stranger, so it's fun to be here.
I poker run in Long Beach all the way to Key West and everywhere in between, and you know, to me the Tickfall 200, there's just so much, you know, the culture, the beautiful scenery, the trees, everything's so green. You know, most places you go, it's beaches, and that's great. You know, obviously we don't have a lot of clear water down here, but you know, what we make up for with is all of the camaraderie and the people. You know, everybody that I've ever brought here, and I have customers from all over the world, Japan, Germany, they come here, and I mean, you know, it becomes an annual trip for them to come back to South Louisiana to enjoy the good food and all of the, you know, the people and the culture and stuff. Look around you. You know, how many tens of millions of dollars worth of boats are out here? And we're certainly doing our part to burn fuel and stimulate the economy, and the restaurants are booming. So, you know, it's a good thing.
The proceeds that we generate from the Tickfall 200 go to our first responder program, and it enables us to be ready when people call us for medical emergencies and car accidents such as that. And we bought pulse oximeters so we can tell if a person truly needs oxygen to determine what type of emergency they're having. We bought defibrillators to help when people are having heart problems if we need to shock them back. We bought a brand new service truck. It's a rescue truck. There's a $130,000 vehicle. Money from this helps offset the cost of that truck. Kind of a third person got involved in this and brought me and Crazy Charlie together 3 years ago, and we had a little sit down and discussed a few things, and we've hit it wide open since then. Charlie has been he's been a tremendous asset to the community, because honestly, 3 years ago when we met, the first responder program was out of money. We had no money left. We didn't even have money enough to pay for postage for a mail out asking for donations. So he saved our program, and it's just spawned a great relationship ever since.
I'm Crazy Charlie, the father of the Tickfall 200. That's my baby.
We could do a 2-hour session on Charlie Alps, you know that. What an icon. And I've met a lot of people in my life, and I said this at his eulogy. Charlie stuck out in a little bit different way. Now, you know, when I was mayor, Charlie came, that's right before I became parish president, because I'm in a transition. And I told this story. I got a call from the girl up front that said, there's a guy here named Crazy Charlie to see you. So you can imagine, I'm thinking, okay, this is a joke. I said, no, really? She said, yeah. So she's kind of whispering. I said, well, is he looking at you? She said, straight at me. I said, okay. So seen him back. But Charlie comes back, he's in a pirate suit and got that do-rag, and I'm thinking, oh my, I didn't know whether to get a gun or run. And what I learned quick, though, is the passion that this guy had for the river. I just thought I did. In the conversation, he brings me out to the truck to show me a wastewater treatment pump to install in the river, on the river, for houseboats to dump their sewage into that to go to the sewer plant, instead of dumping it in the river. And, you know, we ski in there, we swim in there, we want that waterway as clean as we can possibly keep it. We've hooked that up on the new boat launch. Charlie was a big instrument in that. On the way out, he says, hey, I want you to go on a poker run with me. And of course, I'm wet behind the ears, don't have a clue what he's talking about, and I said, well, Mr. Charlie, I don't gamble. Don't have nothing to do with gambling, boy, this is boating. So they stick me on a boat called Top Gun, run me across that lake at 85, 90 miles an hour, fell in love with it. So I've been involved in Charlie's poker runs ever since. They've made history. Hot Boats magazine has been all over top of Charlie. The one this past year, I think it has been, was probably one of the greatest ones, definitely in the top 10 in the nation. Charlie has really been a big inspiration on the river. I mean, he gave back to the community. It wasn't just a deal of I'm having this great big poker run and getting famous with Gilligan's Isle, as you know. I mean, I was so glad to see that there was a guy from Livingston Parish and ends up winning it, of all things. And you remember the saying, let's get it on like a chicken bone. He had a lot of sayings, but Charlie did a lot for the parish. He did a lot for helping all of these volunteers, and he's going to be well missed. This is the place to be, and I'm not just saying that as a parish president for Livingston Parish. Whomever the parish president would ever be, this is the greatest place that you could be. When you look at the geographics, when you look at I-12 again, when you look at the availability of property, I think it's going to be a great ride for us. We just kind of have to manage it. One of the things I tell people all the time, you know, we put a sign on the interstate that said no vacancies. They run slap over coming in. So there's one of two things you do. Either you get with growth and manage it, or you let it run over you. And those communities and parishes that just let it run over you, it's chaos from then on. So we're looking at making some things happen in this parish that I think is going to be a great, great deal for the region as well as the state of Louisiana.